This is the end of a very long week. You saw how I packed all my food in the cooler, headed to Texas. Actually, I flew down there, and then I drove back to help a friend that needed to pick up a car there. So it was, yeah, it was like a 19-20 hour drive, and I got about 3 hours of sleep during that time. But you know, it's one of those things you got to do. And it's kind of like how I talked about in the very beginning. You know, while you're doing this, don't lose sight of your relationships, your friendships, the people that matter in your life, because nothing is worth giving that up. And you know, so that was just something that when I mentioned to a couple of people that I was going to have to drive back for 20 hours, you know, they didn't think it might be a good idea as I was getting ready for the show. But I never missed a meal. And I didn't cheat on my diet. I had to go out and eat dinner with some of the doctors in the seminar, and I called the restaurant ahead of time and asked them for, you know, a white fish. So they got me sea bass, and I asked them for 10 asparagus, which is in my diet, and a cup of green beans. So they did that for me, and they were happy to. So, you know, and I think in the process I saved my boss some money because he was paying for it. And, you know, what was on the menu was like filet mignon and, you know, a bunch of other stuff that was a lot more expensive than what I actually consumed. So, like I said, everything went well. I stayed on my schedule, ate every 2 hours. Even driving here, you know, I was able to eat every 2 hours, well, 2 to 2.5 hours. I kind of spaced it out a little bit because I knew I was going to be driving. I didn't want to, you know, driving late. I didn't want to be hungry at night. So anyway, so I was able to get everything done, and I just got back. But so on the way back, I have to pass this from Texas. You have to come up 71 North, and you pass a place that's a big weakness for me. You know, I kind of mentioned that I had this thing with clothes and all that. So I made a quick stop at an outlet mall on 71. I think now they're called Tanger outlet malls. And I got a few things. I had a big discount, and so I got a few things that I kind of needed, because, you know, as you get leaner and leaner, clothes don't fit anymore, and some of my shoes are just looking pretty raggedy, and they're also some of my cardio stuff I'm losing kind of some of the thread underneath. So so I got a couple of sneakers and some shirts and things like that for working out, as you can see here on my bed, like trophies. Yeah. So anyway, so everything was on sale. So everything I got. Anyway, I kind of rewarded myself for a long trip. Stopped there, bought some stuff, and then came home. So anyway, so good weekend. Learned a lot at the seminar, but also more than anything, I was able to learn and see firsthand the passion that fuels some of these healers, these nutritional practitioners, and it was great. It was great to be around those people, because, you know, it's nutrition is more than just calories in, calories out. As much as people think that's what nutrition is about, it's so much more. And the aspect of nutrition, healing the body, is something that's not discussed enough. So that was my weekend, basically, and I loved it. I got up early in the morning, got my cardio in. I was planning on doing my weigh-in and showing you how I look there, but unfortunately, when we went to dinner, we all went together in a bus, and so I was kind of stuck at dinner till 11 o'clock at night. By the time I got back, it was 11:30. So the next day, I couldn't wake up as early as I'd like, but I still got my cardio in. So I wasn't able to do that for you, but I'll do that now, show you how I look. And I just want to say this. So, One of my friends saw a video, one of these videos, and he just kind of called me. He said, Dennis, I love you. You know that you're, I think you're a good guy and everything, and I respect you. But because I love you, I just want to tell you, I don't, I don't think you're going to be ready for the show. And I said, yeah, I realize that. I've never gotten ready in 14 weeks, ever. I mean, I've dieted 6 months minimum for a show. So 14 weeks versus, 24 weeks is a little more than 24 weeks. There's a pretty big difference there. Considering how many weeks I've dieted, I've never come down this quickly and never looked the way I look now, this soon. So I'm very happy about that. But I realize, I'm never going to make excuses for myself. I dropped the ball. And I think at this point, going into the Arnold, especially with the competition that's going to be there, I knew I wasn't going to be competitive, but I kind of envision being a little better than I am right now. So then I start thinking, okay, what could I have done better? Then I start and being fair with myself, but at the same time being honest with myself. And I think a lot of it is just life, just getting enough rest. Maybe also stepping up the intensity and the cardio a little bit. Things like that could have definitely played a role. I'm someone who tends to hold a lot of water. My trainer says I'm a water buffalo. So, stress gets me. Last weekend, as I was looking at the video, I realized, wow, I was holding a ton of water. I drove to Cincinnati 2 hours, and I drove back for 2 hours, and it's nonstop. I did a talk there, trying to be as accommodating to my daughter, because, she's always game for anything, never gives me a hard time about anything, never cries, never complains. So when I try to be as accommodating as possible, and all of that together, I'm someone who tends to hold water. So all that to say that, I realize a lot from this prep, and I know now for sure that I'm probably someone that either has to, go in pretty lean, go into contest prep pretty lean. I started around 244. I imagine if I want to get ready in 14 weeks, I'd probably have to start closer to 230, right around there, be like 5 to 10 pounds away from my close to competition weight. Or I would have to diet for, I think, a minimum of 18 weeks for me is probably where it's at. By the time I compete, I think I'm going to be about 4 weeks out from being being in contest shape to win my show. So here's my challenge to myself. Once the Arnold is done, I'm going to take a week and not binge. I don't like eating processed foods anyway. I'm not getting into pizza and all ice cream and sweets and all the kind of stuff you see backstage. I don't believe in that. So it's not even a temptation. But what I am going to do is take a week to kind of rebuild glycogen stores, have more carbohydrates, and then diet straight for another 7 weeks. To the next show, which is at Pittsburgh, and that's a pretty well-known show, very competitive show. And I am going into that show to be competitive and be at the top of not just my game, but be at the top of the game for that show. So I'm excited about that. So enough about the contest prep. I hope you guys learned a lot during this process. I'm going to still got. This is 3 weeks out as of Friday, so I've got posing practice next week, and so that'll be 2 weeks out, and then another posing practice, and then it's a show. So you're gonna follow a workout with me that between 2 weeks out and 1 week out, and already the changes that I've seen are pretty significant just in a week. So I think you'll be able to tell that some stuff is happening. I'm just a late bloomer, I guess, but no excuses. I think I've learned from this, and we're moving forward. So let's see how I look.